Let's get into running back love, hate.
Yeah.
All right.
Look at that fancy graphic.
Love. Another guy who you keep going back to the well on, Alvin Kamara, makes your list again. Let's just have a running spot on Alvin Kamara in the love list.
I'm going to be
Why
right
do you love
eventually.
him this week?
Like, if you keep putting him on there, eventually I'll be right. I get it. I understand it. If you're like, I'm done. I hear you. It's been frustrating. But if ever there was a week Alvin Kamara, I believe this is it, right? So all 3 games that the Vikings have played this year, they've allowed 85 or more scrimmage yards to the opposing running backs. Jameis Winston either isn't going to play or is less than 100%. Michael Thomas also has missed practice, we talked about at the top of the show. So it feels like this is a great game to focus the offense on Alvin Kamara, right? I mean, Vikings bottom 10 in the NFL in both rushing yards and receptions allowed to opposing running backs. Kamara has seen 73% of the running back carries and an almost 16% target share. So it's not like he hasn't been getting the ball when he's been out there. He's played 2 games this year. It's the fact that just hasn't been productive so far. But in this matchup, I feel like it will be. I'm back in on Alvin Kamara. I am as a top 10 play. He makes the love list this week. Let's go, AK-47. I'm in.
There's a betting term or a strategy called the martingale strategy where whenever you lose, you just double down.
Yeah, sure.
You just double your stake. It's not a very responsible strategy, not something that should be done, but you're martingaling with Alvin Kamara. I like it. I do think if you have Alvin Kamara, you kind of want Andy Dalton to start, honestly, because Jameis has been highest average depth of target in the league, like we were talking about yesterday. No more Trent Dill for Jameis. He's back to full Jameis, baby. Full Jameis, baby is not. It's not congruous with Alvin Kamara. You don't want to dump off. Don't dump off to a running back.
Give me dump off Dalton.
Yeah, dump off Dalton. There you go.
He's no longer the red rifle. He's kind of the red pop gun. He's kind of like the red pea shooter.
Dump off Dalton.
Dump off Dalton. Let's go, baby.
Yeah. All right, Khalil Herbert.
Yes, sir.
He makes the love list as well. Obviously, an incredible performance. Filling in for David Montgomery. I'm pretty sure he's the best running back in Chicago. I'm not sure it's even really close, but he makes the love list this week.
Khalil Herbert, 2 first names, always a crowd pleaser. 2 last names as well. Because Khalil and Herbert are both last names, but Herbert's also a first. Anyway, a lot going on there.
Same case could be made for Richie James, but that's okay.
The fact is that when Khalil Herbert has gotten time, he's been productive. He started 2 games last year, 18.8 fantasy points per game, averaging 22 touches in those 2 games. Last week, obviously, the 22 touches, 169 total yards, 2 touchdowns, more yards and fantasy points than Dave Montgomery has ever had in a single game this season. Now, Montgomery has yet to be fully ruled out for Sunday, but the expectation is that he will not play, and Khalil Herbert will get the start against the Giants team that has allowed the 3rd most rushing yards to running backs this season. I'm in on Khalil Herbert. He makes the love list. I'm as a top 10 play this week.
He's just really good. Yards after contact per attempt, he leads the league. And I think the much maligned Chicago Bears offensive line, it's actually a really good run blocking unit. They can't pass block to save their life, but for whatever reason, really good at run blocking.
But if you don't pass, you don't have to block for the pass.
Yeah, genius.
Everyone's making fun of Eberflus, but right?
He's playing
Don't
chess.
have to pass block. He's playing chess. So we're all playing checkers. Exactly right. They're 2-1.
They are 2-1.
Say what you want. The Bears are 2-1.
So are the New York Giants.
So are the New York Football Giants.
One of these teams is going to be 3-1 after this week.
By the way, so the Panthers, right? The Panthers are 2-1, right?
No,
or
they're
1-2. They're 1-2.
They could easily be 2-1 though.
They should be 2-1.
They could be 3-0. So they're just playing bad teams. Now, a team that really should be 2-1 is the Detroit Lions, but they blew the end of the Minnesota game. A tough loss for the Dan Campbell Coach of the Year backers like myself, but Jamaal Williams. A bright patch and someone who is going to get a lot of work if DeAndre Swift can't go. He's on the love list.
Do we have footage of me doing the Jamaal Williams hip thrusting dance from yesterday? We don't? Good. Fantastic. Please burn it. What I will tell you about Jamaal Williams is that when he's gotten work, he's been really, really good. Through 3 weeks so far this year, he's averaging 15.9 fantasy points per game, 22 touches, 170 yards. Now, he had the 2 touchdowns in week 3. A lot of his fantasy value has been because he's been vulturing DeAndre Swift, but when he has gotten time, he's been productive. And what's most importantly is we expect this offense has been a lot better than I think a lot of people gave them credit for, the Detroit Lions, which means they're in scoring position often. And I think you will win a bar bet here if you are asked, who is tied for the lead in the NFL among most goal-to-go carries? And the answer is Jamaal Williams.
Yeah.
He has 7. He's tied for the most in the NFL. good matchup here with Seattle. Seahawks have allowed the second most rushing yards to opposing running backs. They've allowed 100 or more scrimmage yards to a running back in all 3 games this year. You can run on Seattle, and so assuming DeAndre Swift does not play in this game, Jamaal Williams is a top 10 fantasy running back this week. You'll see some Craig Reynolds mixed in, but yeah, I'm all in on Jamaal Williams this week.
Yeah, I mean, how many true 3-down workhorse backs are there in the NFL? And Jamaal Williams, he will be that guy if DeAndre Swift is out. I mean, I think it's Saquon, Christian McCaffrey if he plays, JT, Eckler, Chubb, and then Jamaal Williams has as good an argument for 6th as anyone.
I have him right now. I am just outside my top 10 to be clear, Jamaal Williams, but that's because there's still a chance. There's still talk that Swift may play. So, but assuming Swift immediately gets ruled out, Jamaal Williams will move up a few spots.
Okay.
Anyway, he's a borderline RB1 this week. Others receiving votes, just some guys that I think are interesting. Devin Singletary. Look, last week saw some signs of life, right? Played on 75% of the snaps in week 3, set career highs in targets and receptions. Ravens allow the 3rd most receptions to the position. So, again, if he's getting that passing down involvement, it bodes well for him against Baltimore. Breece Hall, somebody we didn't love. His first appearance, didn't love his ADP in the preseason at all, but now that he's on rosters, the fact of the matter is that he's got almost a 14% target share so far this season. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry. Steelers, bottom 10 in the NFL in yards per reception allowed to running backs. What's nice about Breece Hall is he's been involved in the passing game so far. As I mentioned, a 14% target share for the Jets, over 60 scrimmage yards in all 3 games this year. It's Ramondre Stevenson, like season, S-E-N.
That's poorly done. I don't like that.
Pretty much everything I do is poorly done. Welcome to the show. Thanks for paying attention. 16 touches, 100 yards, and a touchdown last week on 4 targets for Ramondre Stevenson. Played 62% of the snaps. Packers allowing 5.4 yards per carry to opposing running backs. With Brian Hoyer under center, we expect a heavy rushing attack. And again, Stevenson over Harris for me. He's playing more snaps. I think he's the better running back, and he's the more versatile one as well. And we already talked about this Detroit Lions, Seattle Seahawks matchup here, especially from Seattle's point of view. No Travis Homer in this one. Maybe a little bit more work for Rashad Penny, who's already played on nearly 70% of snaps in 2 of the 3 games so far this year. Detroit has allowed an NFL-high 6 rushing touchdowns to opposing running backs this year. Good chance. I don't know what the odds are off the top of my head. I bet you do on BetMGM. But Rashad Penny, anytime touchdown in that game, give me that bet.
We can get that, particularly if it's over even money, which I suspect it will be. I like that. Okay, let's go negativo. Hate list.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders, who again is a staple on this list.
He's the poster boy for it.
I'm curious about this one because he's had 45 rushing attempts through 3 games.
Yeah.
75% of their attempts last week. I guess it's because the Jags have a really good rushing defense.
It is as well. So you mentioned, he's been really good, right? Where do you think he ranked last week?
I'm guessing not that high to follow on with your little bit here.
Yeah. Thanks for playing along. He was running back 51 last week.
Okay.
On the season, he's running back 23.
Yeah.
Like everything that the Eagles have done this year has gone awesome.
Yes.
They've been crushing people left and right. He's been getting a lot of work, right?
You almost crushed that cup.
Yeah, I almost did, but I didn't. He has gotten the majority of work on an offense that is rolling people.
Yep.
And he's running back 23. Like, it's as good as it's getting. And so you mentioned the fact that, Jacksonville has tied for the fewest rushing yards allowed to opposing running backs this season. They've given up no touchdowns. They've given up 3.6 yards per carry. They gave up Jonathan Taylor and Austin Eckler. You've heard about those guys, right?
Sure. Good football players.
Thank you very much. Those 2 guys combined against the Jaguars combined for 59 rushing yards.
Yep.
Jonathan Taylor and Austin Eckler couldn't get over 60 yards combined between the 2 of them, and now Miles Sanders is going to do it? And you say, he'll be part of the passing game because Jacksonville does struggle there. Fair enough. Jags have allowed the most receiving yards to opposing running backs this year. I hear you. Fine. Gotcha. Oh, wait, you look a little bit deeper at this. He's averaging 2.2 yards per target so far. He's got 4 targets for the year. He's got 13 total receiving yards, Miles Sanders. 13 total receiving yards in 3 games. The problem is that it's not a part of their offense. I feel like they preferred Kenneth Gainwell in the passing down back role on that Eagles offense, and that when there is pressure and a lot of quarterbacks would dump off to the running back, Jalen Hurts has the ability to be like, no, and I'm going to just start running, right? So, Miles Sanders back on the hate list, Deservedly so. Let's be clear about that. Yeah. Cam Akers on the hate list. Sean McVay expressing confidence in him. He had that bad fumble. He's like, I still would have gone back to him. Just because Sean McVay went back to Cam Akers doesn't mean you have to. I'm just sitting here and telling you this right now, right? Since he returned from his injury, including the playoffs last year, he's averaging 6.4 fantasy points per game. He's had under 11 fantasy points in all 8 games since returning from that injury. He's playing the Niners, which is a top 5 run defense so far this year, allowing under 3 yards per carry to opposing running backs. He's going to split time with Darrell Henderson. Even if the timeshare has shifted in his direction, Henderson's not going away. So you're in a timeshare with a good running back against a very good defense. I'm out on Cam Akers. He's outside my top 30 for the week.
Last week was the first time in 8 tries that he'd average over 3.7 yards per carry. So it hasn't been going great for Cam Akers, but Sean McVay seems to really want to give him the ball and give him every chance to fix things. All right, J.K. Dobbins makes the hate list as well.
I mean, last week he got a touchdown. He still was running back 30.
Yep. San Francisco defense is about as good as it gets against the rush as well. Okay, J.K. Dobbins on the hate list. Just because he's just not going to play that much.
And he's playing Buffalo, right? Bills tied for the fewest rushing yards allowed to opposing running backs so far this season. He played under 50% of the offensive snaps last week, as you see the graphic here for those watching on Peacock.
Cam Akers type numbers.
Yeah, I mean, like, exactly. Against the rush this season, the Rams, Titans, and Dolphins all averaging under 3 yards per carry. And those are all 3 teams that can run the ball. And they all struggled against Buffalo. He's not being used in the passing game yet. He was running back 45 last week. I'm at 35 this week. I don't know. I want to see it before I'm ready to be all in on J.K. Dobbins.
It's about as tough of a spot as you can have for a guy coming off a serious injury in his second game back. Now you got to play the Buffalo Bills. The Ravens are still 3-point underdogs in that game, so expecting they won't be running it too much.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.